It's about 1 p.m. on Friday, January 10th. A lot of us have been talking about this morning the oral arguments in front of the Supreme Court regarding the legislation that will ban TikTok as of January 19th. And the government couched all of their arguments in terms of national security. TikTok is a national security threat because its parent company, ByteDance, is located in China and is subject to influence and nefarious activities from the Chinese government. And TikTok and ByteDance, their attorney spoke very eloquently about the free speech rights of TikTok USA and the First Amendment rights of the more than 170 million Americans who use TikTok on a near daily basis to speak and express themselves. But the overwhelming argument on behalf of the government and of great concern to all justices on the court was this national security argument that TikTok poses a national security threat to the United States. This same Supreme Court that granted Donald Trump last July 1st near full immunity from criminal prosecution for anything he might do while in office, after a very known and very lengthy track record of criminal activity that he engaged in, some of it while he was in the Oval Office. But let's talk about national security. Volume 1 of the Mueller report determined that Donald Trump, his campaign, cooperated with Russian efforts to improperly influence the 2016 election. Trump's, at one time, campaign manager, Paul Manafort, had been paid $10 million a year while working for a Russian oligarch within Ukraine. He gave secret polling information to Russian intelligence, and he eventually went to prison. In 2020, a Senate Intelligence Committee that was headed by Republicans at that time, bipartisan, it was headed by Marco Rubio, issued a lengthy report detailing that Russia and Donald Trump cooperated during the 2016 campaign on Russia's efforts to improperly influence the 2016 election. Russia used Facebook explicitly during the 2016 campaign to pit Americans against each other during that campaign and to try to improperly influence the 2016 election campaign. More national security threats within Trump and his family. A couple of months after leaving the West Wing, Jared Kushner received $2 billion from the Saudi royal family as seed money for his hedge fund. That fund is now up around $3.5 billion, with almost all of that money coming from the Middle East. And Jared Kushner negotiated a sweet management deal for himself. He gets a 1.25% management fee on that money every year. And if it's $3.5 billion and he parks that money in a savings account and does nothing with it, that's about $44 million a year that goes right into Jared Kushner's pocket. Then we have Tulsi Gabbard nominated as Director of National Intelligence. Her nomination is an act of vandalism against our intelligence community. She has shown herself to be particularly susceptible to Russian propaganda. She's still apparently a fan of and friends with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad, who recently was overthrown and is now hiding in Moscow with Vladimir Putin. So I'm sure that'll be fine. Let's not forget how Donald Trump bent over for Vladimir Putin in Helsinki. I think it was in 2018, where he said he believed Vladimir Putin over United States intelligence community. October 13th, 2024, hundreds of national security officials signed a letter saying that Donald Trump is a dangerous threat and a threat to national security. Donald Trump is laden with debt, international deals in adversarial countries, and has a penchant for building Trump towers in countries that are run by despots and dictators. And he tried to overturn a free and fair election in 2020 and incited a riot at the Capitol on January 6, 2021. So the Supreme Court and Congress and Joe Biden signed the bill, all of them paid off by AIPAC, are going to take TikTok away from 170 million everyday Americans who use this app to speak and express themselves on a near daily basis for national security reasons. And after reading through that list, bear in mind that this same exact Supreme Court, knowing all of that information, they knew every bit of that information, they gave Donald Trump almost full immunity from criminal prosecution while he's in office, coming into his second term. This Supreme Court is the most corrupt court of my lifetime, and I've been a trial attorney for 26 years. I grew up revering the United States Supreme Court and reading Supreme Court opinions. This Supreme Court is corrupt. This Supreme Court is co-opted by Donald Trump and MAGA. And we are on our own. Who's going to come save us? Chuck Schumer? It's been fun, kids.